Welcome to Rome, Italy. Once again, the rain falling hard. PCR on pole from Jonathan Sims and Inokui. Akari Lopez starts 4th from Santino Milan and Leo for Aurelio Pinnacle. Daniel Bogdasarov, championship leader, starts 7th from CC Anti Gabo. Then in 10th is Cosmos, and only now do we find the DS-powered cars with Jack Carter, Tommy, Bastian Tan, Revo, and reigning drivers champion Oscar Falstad. Sebastian Ocampo starts 16th from Lewis Olsen and Ucable. Then it's Babinis Jr., Daf Sanchez, Pierre Gasly, and Miguel de Souza. Well then, Nissan finally bringing in the necessary upgrades for the season as PCR on pole from Jonathan Sims. All 5 lights are on! And we go green for the Rome Prix, and it's a very, very good start from both front row men, as usual, but Sims not having the best second phase of the start to try and close in on PCR. They're gonna go down into the first chicane. They're gonna be wheel to wheel down. They go almost colliding. CC further back, getting a 5-second time penalty, and it looks like many cars going off the road. Jack Carter up into P9. And Sims, however, holding on to second position, and he's looking to try and send it down into the first chicane and try and take the lead of the Italian Prix here in Rome, and he's still not close enough to make any moves. Jack Carter having a brilliant start, up 3 places from where he started. His teammates dropped to 16th. The Honda-powered cars down in the bottom half of the pack, with Pierre Gasly and Ucable being 21st and 22nd. If you had told me that this was going to happen to them this season after how they ended last season, it would have been absolutely unheard of. But Nissan Nismo currently holding a 1-4 with their powertrains running 1, 2, and 4. Inokui currently in 5th, the man who lost out on a podium last time out due to a collision with his teammate. The Renault boys in 5th and 6th. Inokui almost sideswiping the rear of Jonathan Sims there. But it's still Sierra leading away from Jonathan Sims and Inokui on lap 2 of 13 here in Tokyo, Japan. It seems like they're going to swap positions. They are going side by side. Oh, the 2 Renaults heading into the first chicane. 2 by 2 goes the entire field like it's Noah's Ark. Inokui colliding with the side of Santino Milan, who takes 3rd position away from the Aurelio Mahindra driver. As we now look to CC, who's trying his absolute hardest to try and get himself up into the points playing positions. Of course, he's got a penalty to the Sims Motorsport driver, as Leo up ahead also getting a time penalty. It feels like traffic paradise out there. But for the Honda-powered boys, look at them. They are running 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Absolutely horrible way to start the season. They are fighting amongst themselves for no points, nothing in the slightest. But the Dragon Renault drivers, Lewis Olsen and Miguel de Souza, trying to get themselves further up the order. As here they come on one of the most successful drivers in championship history. Lewis Olsen trying to get past the 2-time champion in Revo. The reigning vice champion has the inside line coming into the final turn of his home race, and he holds on to 15th position. He needs to make some more moves if he really wants to try and get another shot of a 3rd title. Miguel de Souza setting a fast 3rd sector. Sims 1.2 seconds away from PCR, but gaining through the chicane. Gabo up into P3. Bastian's hand further back, getting a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision that's likely with Akari in the Aurelio Pinnacle car. It's absolutely hectic out there. If I was in this field right now, I don't know where I'd want to place my car. Of course, you'd want to lead, but if you're further back, how are you going to fight your way to the lead if they're all fighting amongst each other? Jack Carter on board with the gold DS Automobiles car, trying to close in on the customer team in front of him as he tried to send it down the inside. Not quite. Again, no attack mode available because the rain is still falling, and it's falling very heavily. Thankfully, no one's got tire issues this time out. Coming through the final turn is P. Sierra, leading this race, heading into the thick rain in front of him. So wet out there. Would have wanted to have another dry race start, but no, it looks like the rain's followed us. Fastest lap goes to P. Sierra, 117.883 rather. But Sims, I don't know what it is, but he might have a little more straight line speed than the Nissan driver in front of him. As there goes Bastien Tan down the inside, steaming down the inside to try and take 6th. He's alongside his countryman in Akari Lopez. This is going to go all the way through turn 3, possibly even into the chicanes of turns 4 and 5. On board with Akari Lopez, who decides to slot behind the McLaren driver in front of him. But he comes back at him, down the inside through the chicane. Cosmos getting a 5-second time penalty for colliding with the other Aurelio Pinnacle car. Here comes Akari Lopez, the season 15 champion, retakes the lead after the announcement that we will have playoffs next season, in season 20. But Bastien Tan then closing in on Akari Lopez, still with him. 7th, that's the position they're fighting for. Only 7th. Carter, Jack Carter tries to take 8th position. He's going for 7th now. He's ahead of the number 22. He's going to have the inside line. It's a 4-way dogfight for 7th position here. And here he comes, looking to the inside line. Not quite close enough to make the position. He's got to continue, have a better exit. An QE with a new fastest lap, a 1:17.6. But Bastien Tan getting ahead of the Danish number 98 driver. That's Leo further back, fighting with Cosmos, CC, and Oscar Falstad. This is some brilliant racing happening. Off the track goes Leo, just about doesn't collide with anyone. And the pack still so close to one another, unless you're talking about the front 2 drivers, because Sims and Sierra are romping away with the race lead. Webo's dropped to 17th position. Not quite the start that he would have wanted in his home race. And we go on board. Oh, Bogdasarov. Daniel Bogdasarov has had a 5-second time penalty. That is T. Gabo, who has lost his front wing alongside Bastien Tan. And that's because Gabo, at his home race, has gotten himself a front puncture. More tire wolf problems. Oh, it's like a bowling alley out there. And it's both Bastien Tan and T. Gabo facing issues, running over front wings. Yellow's in the 2nd sector, and that's Gabo's day effectively done at his home event. Can you believe it? Because I certainly can't. But they are both going to have to pit the McLaren and Renault drivers. And that's probably shaken up the order a lot more than one would have thought, because Milan now up into 3rd. CC's got himself another 5-second time penalty to make it 10. Ocampo's got himself a 5-second time penalty, but he's now up into 16th position. That's probably going to be the highest he's going to run all day, unless we get retirements. But we're looking with Akari Lopez. He's currently running a net 4th position. Who would be leading the championship after today? It would probably be Bogdasarov still, because Webo's not scoring points, Gabo's not scoring points. Into the pits comes Bastien Tan to change his front tyre, and as it turns out, Gabo doesn't have front damage to his front wing, but he definitely has a lot of damage to the car, because he's been hitting the ground a lot. Must be hurting him inside, and he might actually be lapped here. So from the highs of last time out, where he finished on the podium, to the lows of his home Prix, an Italian rarely has a good race in Italy. P. Sierra setting a new fastest lap of the Prix at 1:17.466. The Spaniard looking to try and chase his first win in God knows how long. Akari Lopez steals the fastest lap away from the Spaniard, and I think the wet tyres beginning to go off a little bit of a performance cliff here. Rarely ever happens. Gabo gets a 5-second time penalty somehow for colliding with another driver. He's having to let the rest of the field go past him because he's made that pit stop earlier on. That's the definition of unfortunate. And Akari Lopez, 5-second time penalty. He's in the wall. Akari Lopez in the barriers. Can he keep his wheels spinning? He can, but he's gotten himself a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. Oh my goodness, Jack Carter is the only man behind Santino Milan in the top 10 who doesn't have a time penalty of any form. He would only gain 6th position out of all of this, however. He would not gain much else. Akari, does he have front wing damage? No, he will continue in this race. Olsen comes into the pits. Does he have a puncture? Yes, Lewis Olsen, unfortunately, also with a puncture in today's race. And he's going to get lapped while he's in the pits with 5 laps left to run. That's wets going on to Lewis's car. It's still Sierra leading the way, but the gap between him and Jonathan Sims closing ever more throughout this race. It's all about whether or not the customer team in its sophomore season, with its owner driver in his sophomore season in this championship, can he or can he not win a race? Because that's the one thing that Sims Motorsport Nissan is yet to do apart from win either championship. It's to win a race. And it's all about whether or not right now their owner driver in the number 21, Jonathan Sims, will be able to do it. He's 1.6 seconds off the back. He won in the preseason test. That does not, however, score points, and it's not classified as a race in the history books. He needs to win today to have a race win that will stand in the test of time. CC currently in 6th position ahead of Akari Lopez, Bogdasarov and Anart Cui currently in 4th and 5th. Time penalties gonna be the main talking point of today. We're on to lap 9 of 13. No one deciding to come in to try and test the inters. Anart Cui setting a new fastest lap as he's on the back of Santino Milan. Does he try to go to the inside? Pulls a late lunge, not quite early enough to try and make the move, but that's offset Milan just a little bit. But he hasn't received the best exit as the Aurelio Mahindra driver. Is there problems for Bogdasarov? I hope not. Cece's got himself a time penalty for colliding with the back of Akari Lopez. That's 15 seconds. One of the biggest penalty holes in recent history. Miguel de Souza and Oscar Folstad both joined around the same time as championship. They're going wheel to wheel. Leo right in front of him. And there goes Folstad. Can he take turns? Sends it down the inside. Almost contact between the two of them. But Folstad up into 10th position. But not for too much longer. There goes Leo using his immense wealth of experience in front of the Norwegian champion. But he's still there. It's the McLaren man. He's still closing in on Leo right in front of him. Can Folstad in the number 1? This is only his 2nd race driving the champion's number with 3 laps left to run. Let's go. Let's see if Folstad's going to make the move. Yes, he's got the inside. Heading down into the final turn. This is for 1 point. Folstad doesn't even need to make the overtake to take that point because the man in front of him does have a 5-second time penalty, but he still wants to make the move anyway. 3 laps left to run. It is still raining heavily here today, and it doesn't look like the rain is going to let up. This will be a race with no attack mode in any case, because here comes Souza down the inside on the reigning drivers champion, and the Renault-powered man having to give way to the McLaren in front of him, but not for too much longer. They're still alongside each other. Can Souza get himself further ahead? He's inching ahead. He's going to have the outside line heading into the chicane, and Miguel de Souza almost ahead. They're still alongside each other. No contact made, but Souza now pulling to the inside. This is some of the greatest racing I have seen, fighting for 11th position. But I think Folstad has relented. Further back, you can see Revo getting past Tommy. Is there an issue? No, but there's tons of damage to that DS Venturi car. Revo fighting to try and get himself any points at this point. And he has to get himself within 5 seconds of the car ahead. Into the pits come the top drivers. Are they going on to Inters? Or would it be smarter to try and take slicks here? There is a massive gap. Olsen and Gabo also coming into the pits at this point in time. They're going on to Inters on the top 6. In come the rest of the field with 2 more laps left to run. On board with Revo. Does he go for dry tyres? I think dries might be the Uno reverse move here. So what is Revo's move? What is going on to that car? It is green walled intermediates. What's going on to U-Cable's car? He's going to be one of the last. Babilas Jr. is going on to softs. Babilas Jr. and Venturi have decided to pull the trigger and try and do something different with their strategy. Ocampo comes out of the pits on softs. U-Cable on softs. Bastian Tan is probably going to go out there on softs. Gasly and Sanchez on soft tyres as well. And this could be massive in terms of how this race is going to end. Can't really talk about this championship yet, but you can see it's dry. It's dry out there now. Bastian Tan comes in and out on soft tires. Sierra setting a faster second sector of anyone, but you can see the drivers now beginning to realize maybe, just maybe, we should have gone out on softs, because it is dry as a bucket out there. Almost the wall for Leo coming out of that chicane. So, what is going to happen to the guys who have come out of the pits on softs? They're going to gain massive amounts of time to the cars in front of them, but I'm not too sure how much. In come the drivers on the penultimate lap of the Prix. Sierra from Sims, from Inocui, and Santino Milan. It's all going to be about how quick is your pit stop, and it looks like it's roughly about the same time for Sierra and Sims. Not much gained, not much lost, so Sims is going to have to try and make the overtake on track if he wants to win his first Formula E Monoposto Championship race. He's closing in as much as he can coming out of the pits. But the gap between the top two, 1.306 seconds, 1.192, 1.515. It's about a second and a half between the top two. He needs to try and make that up throughout this next lap and a half. But can he do it? There's probably been a multitude of doubts with the number 21 crew. But they just have to hold on to hope. Just pointing out, the two championship rivals, Revo getting past as falls out on pit exit. And is there a problem for... He's come out of the pits with a puncture! Oh my god, I've never seen this before! Oscar Volstad, reigning drivers champion, has just exited the pits with a rear puncture. And he's going to have to trundle around the track for the next lap with a rear puncture. I cannot believe it. And as now, the Nissan of P. Sierra starts his final lap. Oscar Volstad could actually be the main thing that stops him from winning. Fastest sector goes to the Spaniard in the number 77 for Nissan Nismo. Looks like Honda will actually take home some pretty good points here with 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. Fastest lap going to Babinas Jr. now in 6th position. P. Sierra coming down into that chicane. He's got Sims 2.4 to 6 seconds away from him. But remember what happened in London last season. We had a seemingly dominant run like P. Sierra is having today. He's led lights to flag, but it was all ended at the end of the race. On board with Sierra as he comes into the chicane. Can he evade? Yes, he does evade Oscar Volstad quite well, but Sims having to brake and get past because he was in the braking zone, and that is going to end it. Sierra, it's been so long since he stepped on the top step of the podium, but P. Sierra, the winner of the Season 2 London E3, is going to round the final turn here in Rome. P. Sierra wins the Rome E3 in Season 19. Fastest lap goes to P. Sierra, and does Lewis Olsen have tyre punctures too? He's just going really slow is what it seems to be. He's out the back of the pack and a lap down. Sims comes home with 2nd position, Inocui 3rd, Santino Milan 4th. Oh, that's a dangerous spot for Volstad to be at. Very, very dangerous for the man who's now down at 21st. Does he risk last position? He comes into the pits. Where is Lewis Olsen? The two Norwegian men going to finish last and 2nd last, and Volstad does come home with 21st. Wow. Wow, oh wow. This is the podium. It's been so long since we've seen the number 77. What was once the 97 on the top step of the podium. But P. Sierra wins the Rome Prix from Jonathan Sims and Inocui. Then it's Santino Milan, Babinas Jr., Bogdasarov, UK Ocampo, Sanchez and Gasly. Then it's Miguel de Souza, Jack Carter, Cosmos, Tommy, Akari Lopez, Revo, Bastian Tan, Leo, CCT Gabo, Oscar Volstad and Lewis Olsen. In the driver's standings, Bogdasarov leads the way from Sierra and Inocui. Then it's Sims and Revo tied on 18 points from Gabo, and then a tie for 7th between Milan, Lopez and Babinas Jr. Then it's Leo, Volstad and UK tied on 6 points. Ocampo and Olsen tied on 4 points. Sanchez on 2 points. Pierre Gasly and Carter tied on 1 point with Bastien Tan, Miguel de Souza, Cici, Cosmos, and Tommy still yet to score any points. In the constructor standings, heading into race 3 in Sao Paulo, Renault Edams leads away from Nissan Nismo and Aurelio Mahindra. Then it's Aurelio Pinnacle, DS Automobiles, Sims Motorsport, Nissan, and DS Venturi Formula E team, Braun Honda GP, DS McLaren TGR tied with Andretti Honda and Dragon Renault being at the back. So it seems like we've got a sandwich between the Renault powered teams. But we'll see you guys next time then when the Formula E Motorsport Championship returns.